Fox News Alert now updating our breaking news at the top of the hour. The Justice Department releasing a long-awaited memo that reveals the scope of the Mueller probe was much broader than anyone previously thought. John Roberts is live at the White House with more details. Good morning, John.
Hey, good morning to you. This lightly redacted memo was handed to Robert Mueller back on August 7th of 2017. It shows that the then Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein had given Mueller a much more wide-ranging playing field than had been known before. We had previously been told that the investigation was to look into any links and or coordination between the Russian government and individuals associated with the campaign of President Donald Trump and any matters that arose or may arise directly from that investigation. Now we learn that Rosenstein had given Mueller much more specificity and had tasked him to look into 5 individuals: Carter Page, Paul Manafort, George Papadopoulos, Michael Flynn, and a redacted individual. We do not know who that person was. Mueller was told to look into whether Page, Manafort, and Papadopoulos had colluded with Russia in the 2016 election. He was also told to look into whether payments Manafort received for work with Ukraine were a crime. He was told to look into whether Papadopoulos acted as an unregistered agent of Israel and whether Michael Flynn committed a crime by speaking to Russian officials during the transition, then lied to the FBI about those contacts and failed to report contacts on a security clearance form, as well as acting as an unregistered agent for Turkey. Now, Carter Page is the only one of the group who has not either been convicted of a crime or pled guilty. Senator Lindsey Graham, who requested the scope memo, says Mueller's appointment had no legal justification because it was based on a disavowed dossier on the Trump campaign and that Flynn had been cleared by the FBI before agents, including Peter Strzok, insisted on interviewing him. Here's what Graham said.
The legal foundation for Mueller's appointment is crumbling. So now we know that the scope of the investigation was to look at Carter Page, Flynn, Papadopoulos, and Manafort as to whether or not they were working with the Russians.
And this from former Navy SEAL and current Texas Congressman Dan Crenshaw in the last hour.
They had an idea, they had a conclusion, they had a crime that they wanted to prove, and they gave themselves the power to try and prove it. This is a horrible precedent to set. Okay, it goes against, again, every foundation we have in jurisprudence, in law, in due process.
That scope memo was the second of 3. The third, on October the 20th, expanded the investigation even further to include Michael Cohen, Rick Gates, as well as Roger Stone and some others. So this thing just sort of kept growing and growing and growing, even though, as Senator Lindsey Graham suggests, the entire underlying premise for the whole thing had been disavowed. Ed?
John Roberts, thanks for the update. Sandra?